Over to Chelsea, Connor. Chelsea are interested in Karim Matoma after he really put on quite a show against them last week. Do you think that they'll bring him to Stamford Bridge in the summer? Will they be able to afford him? Because I know Brighton turned down a pretty large bid for him from Saudi.
I think anything's possible with Chelsea under that ownership. Like, you look what they've spent since they've come in, they find every loophole possible. So, I don't know, offer like a bag of Skittles and a £10 billion in 10 years' time, they'll probably accept that. But yeah, seriously, Matoma's been offered about quite a lot the last 6 months, I believe. Arsenal were speaking to his representatives, I think, and he's actually come quite a bit more onto the radar the last month or since the start of the year. Like, he's actually come into a nice bit of form again. And when he first came on the radar, I was like, oh my god, this guy's nuts, he's really good, we should sign him. Like, you know, at Brighton, like, they just churn out they bring these foreign players in and they just churn them out 100 million times each time. They're unbelievable at it. Paul Barber, like, he licking his lips with half the things, like the players the turnover's insane at Brighton. And with Chelsea's record of signing Brighton players, you've got like Cucurella, Sanchez, Caicedo, and the list goes on. Mitoma probably would be another one they would love to sign. He is an unbelievable footballer. I think he's very good. Kind of like came onto the scene a bit late, but yeah, potential there. It just, like you said, it depends on like their PSR issue. With UEFA, a lot of people forget about the UEFA FFP as well, separate to PSR. That's probably something to look at as well. Like, they've not been in the Champions League now for a couple of years. Chelsea, that does hurt. I know they do this thing where they put players on 20-year contracts, whatever it is, to make it feel better, but I don't think that's going to carry on working for the rest of their lives. It's going to bite them eventually. So, potential move there, definitely. I can see him moving from Brighton if he doesn't sign a new deal. But they're wanting a lot. Like you said, that they turned down a massive deal from Saudi. I think it was Saudi, right? From Saudi in January. So maybe they want to keep him, but like, he's a top class player.
And Paul, we know Chelsea kind of has a weird goalkeeper situation. They're not currently happy with who they have, but they spent tons of money on young goalkeepers potentially for the future. Calvin Kelleher is a name we always discuss because we are pretty sure he's leaving Liverpool this summer. Could he be Chelsea's next number one?
He's better than what they've got. I think we talk about Chelsea's goalkeeping situation because what they've got is not good enough to compete at the level they want to compete at. Robert Sanchez, for me, is not a Chelsea goalkeeper in a Champions League team if that's where they want to be. Playing out from the back, he's, you know, the errors leading to goals. He's up there with some of the highest numbers in the Premier League, and I think when you watch him with the ball at his feet, but also the saves that he makes, not necessarily he doesn't let goals in. It's glaring errors, but there's things that he could do better when you analyse him as a goalkeeper and you look at him and you look at his all-round game. Sometimes errors that are quite obvious to everybody, but then there's other errors and areas of his game, movement around the goal, positional sense, depth perception of the through ball, and then his decision making playing out from the back. Chelsea are two players, two positions light for me, the most important two on the pitch, number 9 and the goalkeeper. I think that's where they should have invested better than they have. Then you look at the amount of players that they've got, you look at the squad that they've got, but the areas that they haven't invested in are those two. Kelleher, he's a good goalkeeper, and he's going to move on from Liverpool because, as we know, Mamardashvili's coming back in. I think for a Liverpool point of view, that was a really clever move. Mamardashvili, for me, is one of the top young goalkeepers in Europe, and the thing for Kelleher there, he was always seen as the predecessor to Alisson. That's not now the case because Mamardashvili's not going to come in and sit on the bench behind Kelleher. You know, they've done a deal where they've allowed him to go back out on loan. He comes in this summer. Alisson's by no way done. But, you know, by the way, we're talking about a goalkeeper there who's a top-class goalkeeper, and for me, he's one of the best. He can play the modern way, but actually, the fundamental rule of a goalkeeper is to keep the ball at the back of the net, and he's still one of the best at doing that. He's reading the crosses, the through ball, everything. I like Alisson. I think he's got another however many seasons he wants at the top level. Mamardashvili comes in as his understudy, and for him, a bit part player next year, Champions League football, cup competitions, etc., opens the door for Kelleher to move on. I suspect, listen, from Kelleher's point of view, he'll be hugely disappointed because he's given the service he's given Liverpool, the opportunities that he's had, he's never let them down. He's developed as a goalkeeper, but the money that they're going to get is pure profit. He's out of contract at the end of next season, not this season, so everything points to an exit for him. Is Chelsea an obvious choice? It's not an obvious choice, but Chelsea are going to recruit. Chelsea do need a goalkeeper. What would he cost? 20, 25 million? And I think if Liverpool are to get a profit for him, it's going to be this summer, because like I say, his contract's up in 18 months from now.
And Connor, there's rumored to be a clause in Cole Palmer's contract that allows him to leave for the right price if Chelsea miss out on the Champions League this year. Do you think he may look to do that?
I think it's nonsense, that, mate. That's I don't know where that rumour come from. I'm pretty sure none of them Chelsea players have like any kind of clause of that nature in their deal. Especially Cole Palmer, particularly. Like, he might not have been in the best form recently, but he's out quite comfortably their best player. He's so good, and he's young, English tax, all that. Like, it just doesn't make any sense for Chelsea to put that like at risk. Like, I mean, like, Chelsea's like transfer strategy was really, like, people say it was like scattergun, and he was probably like one of the few ones that actually paid off. Like, I don't know what they paid, maybe like 35, 40 million, whatever it was they paid for him from City, but you can't say he's been a bad signing. He's been an unbelievable signing for them, and like, he'd pretty much get into any team in the world right now, I'd say still. One thing I will say with Chelsea, like, they just, if he doesn't turn up, they don't turn up, and that's like a big issue for them. So if they got rid of him or allowed him to go for any price, I don't know what the price they'd ask for if they did want to, if someone did come in for him, but I know it'd be silly money, like not even worth thinking about. So no, that's definitely not a thing. He won't leave if they miss out on Champions League. So yeah, you can just throw that rumour in the bin.